Yakmala! Yakmala! Welcome back, my friends, to the cult film Showdown. I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu, and I am truly pleased to be welcoming back my good friends. And I have Jack Hall.
Yes, Jack Hall. The one and only.
The one and the only. Yes, that's correct. And the second and only, we have Nick Boxer.
Clean up on aisle 4. Greetings and salutations.
You can also call him Chains.
Chains, yes. Yes. And then, of course, we'll, the last member of our little biker gang, we have Jim Cotta.
You know, Stone Cold only works because his name's Stone. Like, Cotta Cold doesn't sound
Yeah.
Well, it's not his real name.
We'll get to that.
Yes. So,
First, we got some...
As you may have guessed, we are doing Stone Cold with the Boz, Brian Bosworth. I just like saying the Boz, like that's the shit right there. But a fella not known for his acting, not really actually known for his football either. But hey, you can't win them all in this case.
No, he's known for his mullet.
But
It
James,
was fantastic.
yes, James, this is your season concept that we are wrapping up. So give us the lowdown.
All right. Well, 85 Minutes of Fame is this season, and the focus has been on performers who are best known for something other than acting, who are in a featured or lead role in a film. This one features Stone Cold, which, as you said, features Brian Bosworth, winner of the 1990 Dolph Lundgren lookalike contest.
Well, the same director as directed Dark Angel.
Yes, it is.
You bet.
Yeah, that explains the mullet.
That explains much.
All right, well, now.
Let's get to the part we're all looking forward to.
That's right. Nick,
Yeah.
do it.
You picked the movie, Nick. This was yours, so
Yes,
you should be good at this.
This is a favorite movie of mine. Well, in this subtle docudrama of cops undercover. No, I'm joking.
it's the Son of Anarchy pilot episode.
Yeah, that's right.
This movie is macho bullshit. Makes no sense whatsoever, but is awesome in every way. Our man, John Stone, or John Huff, is tasked to bring down badass biker gang led by Lance Hendrickson because, he's a tough guy. And there's this second in command in the gang, played by William Forsythe, in probably his best role ever, although there's tons of awesome roles for William Forsythe. So John,
Big City
goes
Blues.
undercover, he collects evidence and tries to bring down this gang, infiltrate this gang, and it all goes to shit, and he's just forced to kill everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Really, this movie is, if you've seen a Fast and the Furious movie, this is basically it. You add one more speech about family, although there is still a couple in this one. I truly want the Boz to show up in the Furious movie as John Huff, and you wouldn't skip a beat.
It's true. This is essentially the character John Huff. This is essentially it's Dirty Harry with a mullet, a motorcycle, and a shitty script. That's basically what we have.
Oh no,
here.
I mean, there's the bad guys are so bad. Everything's turned up to 11.
Yeah.
Even the start scene where John Huff is forced to stop a grocery store robbery. The bad guys aren't. You don't get the sense they're out for drugs or anything like that. 3 guys robbing this grocery store that, obviously only had probably they're making it out with $200 maybe.
He causes about $800 worth of damage.
I could say more like 8,000.
Yeah,
smashes
yes.
all the windows too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is that this is absolutely the Spinal Tap of action movies because it is everything turned up to 11. And that, so this was a movie that I saw when it came out, and I absolutely loved it. Loved it a lot. And then I watched it probably about 2 or 3 years after that, and I didn't enjoy it quite as much. So I was really interested in watching it again this time because I was just like, is this going to be a movie that I love, or is it going to continue like the downward trend? And after watching it again, I'm like, well, no, fuck, I love this movie. This is a great action movie because it is everything overdone. Like, if it's just like, you got a trope, you got an action movie trope, chuck the fucker in there because, we're going to use them all. Every one of them.
It's so true. I love this type of film. There's so many of this type of film from the 80s. They're just the hyper testosterone.
You say like we need more.
Oh, yeah, we need more. I agree. But this and like Roadhouse and Cobra and Raw Deal and just like all of these, and they all have the same shine of like B movie, big budget, big B movie shine to them, and they're just they're all the same. They all look the same. They all feel the same, and they're all awesome.
I think it takes a while to get going for me. That's my only critique on that side.
Come on.
The third act.
That first scene is awesome, and then you go straight into the iguana and the naked one.
I would watch a movie called Iguana and the Naked Woman.
Well, I think we all would.
Sorry, Komodo dragon.
Yeah, I would watch it.
You'll be disappointed. It's actually a spy thriller. Iguana.
It's a slapstick comedy starring Ringo Starr.
I think I still might watch it.
Ringo Starr and the Bosworth. The Boz, that's what I want to see. That's my next new movie.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yes.
I do think that I think that you weren't. I don't think you were legally allowed to make a movie like this without William Forsythe. Given the amount of films like this that he's in, there may be tax credits involved or something.
Yeah, he was filming another one just like, I think it was the one he did with Steven Seagal. He filmed it concurrently, so he'd be available for a week for this, and then he'd go on to a film with Steven Seagal and film that for a week, and then come back to this one. It was Out for Justice, I think.
That would be a great theme season, like 8 films that were all filmed at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Performers wandering back.
That's not bad.
See, the problem that I can see with this movie is that I don't know how much to talk about it without scoring the damn thing, because it's really hard to break down the story because it's so completely like random and it's silly.
It's about the explosions, not the story.
You have to think about the plot, which is sort of the counterpoint to this movie.
Yeah.
It's sort of don't think about it. I mean, how the bad guys don't know he's a cop for the majority of this movie is bizarre, beyond anything.
No, but how they actually deduce it when they do is also, or at least the girl, how she deduces it is beyond belief as well. Oh, so good.
And I mean, you have like the action movie tropes, like the bumbling cop partner, which should have been an obvious tip-off at any point during this movie. Hell, I think the bumbling cop actually says his name at one point wrong.
Well, they do constantly are pronouncing the city they're in wrong. So
it's amazing.
Oh,
what city
man.
was it, and what were they saying?
It's Biloxi, and they're pronouncing it Bilaski.
Oh, okay.
Maybe there was some kind of like needed to Greek that for legal reasons. Like we don't get in both to get in trouble with Biloxi and also maybe copyright infringement with Biloxi Blues.
Could be.
I want people getting those two things confused.
Oh yes, this is I'm okay if we go right to scoring. It'll still take a while.
Right. In our search for the ultimate B movie, we rate each film in 5 categories. None of these categories is objective quality. The first one is called Schlock Appeal, and we start with Stan.
This has a lot of appeal, and it really does have a lot of schlock. I mean, like, everything explodes. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, everything explodes.
Yeah. Oh, that's the one thing we didn't do. What did this film teach you?
That everything explodes.
Everything explodes. Your windshield gets cracked, it's gonna explode.
Yes.
It's gonna explode.
Yeah, you just look at something funny, and it's like, kaboom! You know, that's all that it takes. So I mean, you know, watching this, it's just sheer escapist fun, and I'm going to give this a 9 for just that, just being completely over the top.
This is the movie that I rate all action movies against, so I have to go with a 10.
Wow, that is a hell of a score, but I understand it's a favorite of yours, and it is awesome. I mean, the fact is, Brian Bosworth can't act, but he's still awesome.
He is totally awesome.
He's awesome he can't act, but dude has charisma out the every pore of his body. Like, he's just loaded with charisma, and you can't deny that. And the charisma and just the entire, like I say, it's not the first of these, but it's the most generic in a wonderful way. And I love it. So 8.
All right, I maybe it's because I saw this too late. I don't have any nostalgia for it because I
never seen it. Before.
Oh, really? Okay.
Before,
Then
no.
maybe I saw it. Maybe I didn't. I have no memory of seeing it anyway. Didn't connect with me as much, but I'm still going to go with a 7.
Actually, I can't say I never saw it before. I saw like 20 minutes of it on late night TV once.
If it wasn't the right 20 minutes,
It was like in the middle. It was enough for me to think it was awesome. It was enough for me to look at Lance Henriksen's hair and go, "This is the greatest movie ever."
Does have some awesome hair in that. All right, more heart than budget. Reported budget $17 million in 1991.
I got $25 million in my research, so.
So sometimes Wiki and IMDb have radically different
numbers. That's funny. I think this is where I will ding it, because I mean, when you talk about generic action movies, this one is a generic action movie that just happens to star a big name ex-football player in that regard. So I'm only going to give it a 3. I love this movie, but I just don't know how you can score this part high.
No, I'm not going high either, but on the other hand, no one's phoning it in. I mean, William Forsythe is going for it. For years, I did not realize Lance Henriksen was changed in this movie. He completely scared me as a badass. I mean, it wasn't until several years after I saw Aliens that I even connected the two. He totally transforms into this role. But that said, I mean, it is the obvious, generic action film, so I can't rate it too high. So 7.
It's worth noting, every single line of dialogue Lance Henriksen has in this movie, he wrote himself.
Nice.
He wrote all his own dialogue. And it's a wonderful dialogue, isn't it? It's like, there's a lot of problems. Like, the movie fired its director after 4 weeks and replaced it, and they, it had an NC-17 cut for violence, and that cut is lost, and because they cut it down to get an R, and they never kept the other cut. And I know, and
I've been saying there's all these lost cuts that are sitting in a drawer somewhere, and we have time to release them right now.
Yeah,
like we're
getting time for this.
We're getting a new Godfather 3. We're getting a new Justice League. We can get a new Stone Cold.
I would. The funny thing is that I would go see this in the theater.
I know that Stan, like, of the 3, the Stan's like Stone Cold. Like, I give another shot at Godfather maybe, but
it's going to take a lot of cut. But yeah, I mean, like I say, they fired the director halfway through, and there was an entire storyline where he's married and he has a kid and a sister lives with them, and all that is cut, and that probably would have given it a lot more heart. But like I say, they go for it. So a 6.
It's funny when you said that Lance Henriksen wrote all his own dialogue, I doubled my score to a 6. Because that alone, he chews up the scenery. Like, I'm surprised he didn't gain weight. He chews up so much scenery.
Welcome to my slaughterhouse.
And he's such not a tough guy, like, physically, but for some reason he just pulls it off, like, with attitude.
What was the line? Something about this is the biggest pork chop I'm ever going to eat.
Amazing. What the fuck moments?
So I started, I was earnest at the beginning of this movie. I really wanted to write down all the WTF moments. and so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get through this. And so, like, we talked earlier about the grocery store, and I'm like, why the hell are these guys wasting bullets shooting up a grocery store like this? This part, that doesn't make any sense. And continuing on that theme, like, there's 3 of them. And so the one guy's like the leader guy sends the one guy. He's like, okay, get the money. And then Bosworth walks in and he's like, then they hear him walking. And then the leader tells the guy who's collecting the money, okay, go find out what's going on. And I'm like, why is it always the same guy that you're sending? Like I thought you were here to get the money, but like after that, I started watching the movie and I was just like, dude. Everything explodes. Wow. Everything is like insane. And so I think the what the fuck is the fact that like they did truly put everything into this movie. Like, I mean, you've got a biker gang that can steal or that can get military people flying military helicopters that the biker gang control, and you've got motorcycles flying out windows, you've got motorcycles driving through the halls of the courthouse and stuff like that. I mean, everything is in this movie, and that to me is completely what the fuck that you would put all of it in. So I'm going to go with an 8.
The WTF is high on this film. I mean, the boss's fashion choices in the first half of this movie alone. The fact that they wedge a set of breasts in any spare corner of this movie for no apparent reason other than it's awesome.
Other than the obvious reason, yeah.
The fact that our hero can shoot a trailer off the back of a truck, that makes no sense whatsoever. We got motorcycles taking out helicopters, and to top it all off, our hero achieves no goals he set out to do. He doesn't save anybody. Nobody's arrested at the end of this film. Everybody's dead. Everyone the bad guys want killed is killed.
It's true, yes.
Still true, yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
It is an amazing piece of suspended disbelief or something, because you're with him for the entire ride, and at no point do I really think this is stupid, but if you ever stop to think about it, it is incredibly stupid and dumb and WTF. I'm going with, I want to say 10, but 9. I just like this movie too much.
But it is high in the WTF scale. I mean,
Yeah.
He is the worst cop ever. Like, he is. This guy is terrible at his job. I mean, there's all the people they want killed, but there's also just all the other people killed. Just collateral damage everywhere, including the scene where, he is followed by William Forsythe, where because he gets a call to meet his klutzy partner. So he meets his klutzy partner to tell him, you you can't do it anymore. They found some military people were killed, and you're out. And he's like, well, I can't get out. And I'm like, why? What? Why? He's like, I can't do that. And I'm like, what? They're telling you to get out? Like, no big deal. But he's like, I can't. I'm not going to do it. Tell them no. Tell them I said no.
You don't even live here. What do you mean you can't get out?
So the William Forsythe that shows up and screams at him, shoots at him with a machine gun, a Uzi, right? They get on motorcycles, and then there's this motorcycle chase. The end of this motorcycle chase is for Brian Bosworth to pull up beside William Forsythe, push him into the oncoming lane where he hits a car. That car explodes, killing this innocent human being driving that car in order for William Forsythe to die, who we next see his body, somehow the bikers have recovered to do some sort of ritual with him.
Which is the best ritual ever.
It's like a witch's ritual, burning him at the stake on his bike. He killed an innocent human being. You gotta be kidding me. I watched that scene like 7 times. Jesus, why not? Like, yes, seriously, there's somebody in the car, you can see them, and then boom, explosion, because he shoved the bike into it. It's one of the all-time great WTFs, and it's not the only one in this movie. I'm actually gonna tap out and not say anymore because I want you to back clean up here, James. I'm giving it a 9, though.
I think a goodly amount of the WTF in this film for me is the third act. You talk about third act problems.
Oh God!
Nothing in the third act makes a lick of sense. So it, kind of our turning point leading toward the big finale is that John Stone is they've all been working toward a fake drug buy where they're going to bust the whole gang, and they're going to get the gang, and they're going to get the mobsters and everyone that's involved in all of the parts of this. And it's not a great plan, but he needs to make sure that he's got something that's going to get Lance Henriksen's attention. So he has this. He has a sample of this drug, P2P, which I looked up. You ask about what did I learn? I looked up P2P is a real drug. It's an early version of meth, is what he actually has there. I don't know if it comes in liquid form. It does in the movie.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to assume it doesn't. Actually.
Looks shockingly like water. Yes.
Looks a lot like water in a glass. So John goes back to his contact, his slapstick cop contact, and he says, I need 400 gallons of P2P in a truck. And they make that happen. And he's like, they're nervous because that's like it's seized 400 gallons of drugs, incredibly rare, incredibly expensive drugs that seem to not be worth actually that much money in the end of things.
Well, it takes an entire trailer full of this to make up $1 million. So
he says it's 8 50-gallon drums, I think is what they actually tell you at some point. Which is, that truck's too big for what they're carrying. It's a full semi, and it's like could have fit in a U-Haul. And then the drug buy goes wrong, and the mob guys get it, and then the bit that Jack mentioned where he shoots the trailer off of the truck because he can't let them get away with the drugs. The trailer explodes into a zillion pieces by hitting a gas station because gas stations explode too. At no point in that entire process does anyone look at the barrels of drugs. They could have been anything in those.
Yes, I know.
There's not a single moment where it matters that there's drugs inside that.
Oh no!
When you looked it up, did you find out if what is it called? P2B?
P2P.
P2P. Did you find out if it's explosive?
I didn't. It is if I've learned anything from Breaking Bad, it's that it's explosive at all points in its creation. So, and I'm thinking they did a little more research than Stone Cold did. But which leads me to a broader question for all of you who, and especially Nick, who has seen the movie many times. In the third act, how was that plan supposed to work? Because
it gets off trail really easily.
We see it not work, but it doesn't work in the way that I can't see how it was going to.
I think so. I think that the ideal thing was that they were going to be caught with the P2P, with the enormous amount of P2P, and then of course you would because
no. I mean past that, the bad guy's plan.
Oh, the bad guy's plan. Oh,
they're going to kill the DA, who apparently is the most protected man in the country, because they have to wait until he's in the middle of a sealed building before they make a move on him.
Yeah,
and they have that's what they needed.
How did the gun that he grabs from underneath the table chair in front of him get stuck into the courthouse? By the way, the Uzi that he has,
because he had his cross.
Lance Henderson sneaks his way into the room where the DA is with a gun, and I'm like, why does anything else in this plan happen?
I thought it was strapped to the bottom of the chair.
No,
I didn't even.
Because he came in, he beeped, but he was dressed as a priest, and so he lifts up the big cross, and like, and it's like, of course, Father.
I remember that part. I just thought that it was actually strapped. I didn't think he actually had it on him. I thought it was strapped to the chair in front of him or whatever, underneath.
It could have been,
I think I've detected your fatal flaw here. Is you thought about what was going on.
Yes, it's true. That is a giant problem. We've already tried to explain too much.
I just went in. Oh, they got a helicopter. That trumps everything.
Yes, they have a helicopter that exploded before the bike that hit it.
Yes.
And who was that character with the helicopter? All of a sudden, there's a guy with a helicopter, and I'm like, he's not part of the gang. What the hell is?
Oh no! I mean, he's in the military because he just wanders in and he's just like, that I can fly this helicopter better than you. And I'm like, I didn't even why did we? I didn't even need that scene.
He was a transfer from another biker gang. He bought his way in at the beginning of the movie.
I have the film in front of me. I can confirm he gets that gun from underneath one of the chairs.
I thought so. So number one, then why do the beads thing and the cross thing, and how the hell that gets strapped in there?
And more importantly, why does anything else happen if you can get a gun waiting for you in the room? Why does a single other thing happen?
And if they were planning on killing everybody, then why did they need the helicopter and all that stuff? You would think that they could just shoot everybody and just leave at that point.
The helicopter was just a getaway.
It's one of those moments of like, what in this story would be different if Stone Cold wasn't there? And it's not much.
Not much. No.
Probably, actually, as you talk about them being the worst police officer, they only get the money for this because of the old drug deal that Stone Cold set up. So again, if Stone Cold, none of this would have happened if Stone Cold wasn't there.
Well, because Stone Cold had a plan. He had a plan, which of course failed miserably.
But he's not Stone Cold. He's John Stone, but he's not John Stone. He's Joe Huff.
That's my last WTF.
Please, I've been waiting for you to get to this one. I was going to do it, and then I thought you mentioned.
My last WTF is that the guy, his name is John Huff. He goes undercover as John Stone. The film is called Stone Cold, which means if there had been a sequel to this called Stone Cold 2, he would have had to go undercover using the fake identity from the first film to be in the second film for it to make any sense.
Well, not only that, but so there's the female lead. She gets a phone call, but they check to see if this John Stone guy. They call the biker gang calls their patrol woman they know who can look up and see this name and cross reference it or whatever with the database and
DMV,
yeah. So they look it up and turns out that he has an alias. He's also Joe Huff, and she immediately goes, "Well, that must mean you're a cop." I'm like, what? You are in a band. You're in a gang with people named Gut and Trouble, Shane. You think those are their Christian names? And all of a sudden, because he has the name John Stone, he's like, don't tell me you're a cop.
It doesn't even say it's an alias. It says it's linked to another account. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah. You're like the guy who set up your fake identity didn't think of that.
Didn't do a good job at all. I mean, like, apparently the FBI or whoever, it was the FBI that he was loaned out to. It's just like, good job, guys.
And this patrol woman working for the police wouldn't see that the name Joe Huff is actually a police officer, even though he was listed at the beginning of the film as having the most motorcycle arrests of any police officer.
Well, obviously they did something, but like the FBI did something, just not everything.
Because they're in Mississippi and he's an Alabama police officer.
Yeah.
So I don't think that excuses anything. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. Memorable moments.
I mean, it's an interesting case because I don't know for me how much is memorable. I remember loving the movie, of course, in that moment, but I don't necessarily remember things other than how cool the boss is and everything exploding. But one thing I will take out of this was definitely from Lance Henriksen and tell him to keep his castles out of my sandbox. And it's just like, that caused me to think for a few minutes right there. It's just like, ooh, interesting. But the thing about it is that in this case, it doesn't matter what I will remember. What I will remember is that if I want action, stone cold, that's all I need. So I will go with, I'm going to go with 6.
Yeah, this is not a surprise. 10. Yeah, I remember all Komodo Dragon movies pretty high. I don't know why. I just do.
Can I recommend
Cleanup on Aisle 4 is probably one of the greatest after action scenes I've ever heard. The fashion, Lance Henriksen, William Forsythe on the big fucking funeral pyre. I mean, it's all awesome and all memorable. 10.
When I think of this, you were going to say something about Komodo.
There's a movie actually called Komodo that if you like Komodo movies,
I think go for that.
Seems like that's your jam right there. No,
I personally go with The Freshman, but
this is like it all blends together because it's all just ridiculous. It's like a 90-minute movie that feels like it takes 15 minutes to watch. Like it's just crazy, just mashed together action, no sense, no anything. So no individual moment stands out for me except for when I think of the movie, I don't think of the boss. I think of Lance Henriksen and that hair because it's just so odd on him because I'm used to him having that same look that we're used to for so many movies. It's just like burned into my mind. So it's like the movie itself is totally memorable. I remember the movie. I remember the feel. I remember the explosions and the actions, but I don't remember any individual part. So it's a memorable movie, not a memorable moment, but I'll still give it a 6.
I think I shot my load there on what the fuck moments. I don't think anything. I think that's the stuff that's going to stick rather than any particular part of the film. So only a 4 for me. Final category, crazy concept.
I mean, you took a football player who was just coming off of, like being a big name, had an injury, so he needed another line of work. You stuck him in a biker action movie that you threw the kitchen sink at, and it was 1991. I mean, this is exactly the kind of time that you could release this kind of movie and get away with it. It's amazing and it makes no sense whatsoever, but I don't think there's anything particularly fresh about Stone Cold, so I'm just going to have to give it a 3.
Yeah, originality is not this movie's strong suit. This is what you get, like, when they go, okay, what can we do? We've signed this football player that can't play football anymore. We want to make him into an action or a movie person. What do you do? Well, we got this leftover script from a Van Damme movie or a Stallone movie or something. Let's go with that. That's all this is. It's completely awesome, but yeah, crazy concept. No, I'm giving it a 2.
Yeah, I got a little bit more because it is it's the most generic of these things ever. But the fact is, I mean, you have to understand how big the boss was. Like the personality was larger than life, despite flopping in the NFL. Just as a personality, he was in all of these commercials and all these different things. It's like a huge, so understanding and thinking that you could put him in to a movie, I get, but thinking that he should star, and I don't know, man. It's the fact you put the boss in this is really, to me, what's the craziest concept about it. Other than that, nothing else. But I'm going to give it a 4.
I think all the stuff that you all said. 3. All right. Let us now submit this to the gods of the Octagon. 64.5 out of 100, which puts it right behind Cabin Boy and dead even with Fatal Deviation.
I don't even remember Fatal Deviation. What the hell is that?
The Irish Kumite.
God.
Oh, there you go. Generic title, clearly.
Well, obviously, we need to revisit the memorable moments.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the name of a totally different film we did, and I kept thinking of Fatal Deviation.
Well, we're not done this episode. Do we do business first?
Oh, we do business first. Yes, because we are of course wrapping up our 85 minutes of fame, and so let's give them some business, Jim. Give them your business.
Hey, remember I just mentioned the Octagon? You can find that on WeTalkPodcasts.com. It's the record of all of the films we have done on the show, and you can sort them by the individual categories as well as final scores. We Talk Podcasts has a Twitter. They have a Facebook. And we are on Instagram at the Cult Film Showdown.
Awesome. Well, now we are prepared to talk about some Sybil Danning and what I had called the sibilant season, the spotlight on Sybil Danning. And she's got some wonderful, wonderful attributes that she brings to
8
her.
8 movies does not feel like enough here. I have to say,
it kind of doesn't. But she just, she brings her charms to the screen every time, and I know I always look forward to seeing those charms. So
I'm guessing we'll see them in a few of the films.
That's my guess. So we should absolutely Jimmerate.
That's right. I gotta do a whole bunch of stuff here on the Jimmerator before it lets me Jimmerate.
Oh, you mean you didn't remember to do the Jimmerate?
He wasn't prepared to Jimmerate.
I was not. I want to thank random.org, which is the home of the Jimmerator. I'm not making that name up.
But have you considered emailing them and asking for sponsorship and asking them to rename it Jimmerator?
Yeah. In the opposite order than that. Yeah.
Yes.
Money's good, but renaming it. All right.
That's more important. Yes.
And Jimmerate. Oh, it's me. All right. I'm not used to that. All right. Well, this is it's harder than I thought it would be. I didn't expect to go first.
Mine's easy. I could have gone first and second, and I'd be good.
All right. A squad of female mercenaries take on an organization called Space Clean, which is dedicated to stopping space exploration. Panther Squad, 1984.
Panther Squad is the movie that made me want to do this season. I started watching.
It was my first pick.
Yes, I started watching Panther Squad. I got about 15 minutes of the way in, and I'm like, I can't keep going with this because we need to do this on the show. So it's
perfect.
It's an ideal choice. It's wow.
All right. And Jimmerate is Nick.
Alrighty. Well, I am going with the strongest man on earth, Hercules, starring the Incredible Hulk himself and Sybil Danning.
Nice.
Directed by an Italian guy, so it's awesome.
All right.
8 films is not enough.
And Jimmerate. It is Stan.
All right. Well, I am very happy to like my top two choices. One, of course, is already off the board. Like, I'm a winner, no doubt about this, because I knew that my top two choices were going to make it no matter what. But speaking of two, I'm going with Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf.
Man.
All right, that was going to be my next one, so it was going to make it either way.
Yes, oh yeah, for sure.
And it is obviously in my consideration, but I'm going to go, if we're going to do Hercules, let's do another Sword and Sandals movie that actually has nudity. Warrior Queen.
Warrior Queen.
Fine movie. I actually just watched it recently.
Excellent.
All right. End of round one.
End of round one.
And
Generate again.
Nick, you're up first this time.
All right. You criticized my last pick for a lack of nudity. Well, I'll see your Sybil and raise you a Linda Blair with Chained Heat.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad that was the one I was. Now two of my top three are now in.
Isn't Monique, what's her name in Chained Heat as well?
You know,
Wendy O. Williams, I think, is in it.
Monique Gabrielle has a part in Chained Heat.
Does she? I think it's Wendy O. Williams is in it.
Yeah, there's
It's going to be great.
I don't think we haven't spent a lot of time in women's prisons yet.
So I know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And we haven't spent enough in there.
Well, there are a couple more choices available for this season.
Yeah, there's an enormous amount, yes.
All right, where am I at on my list? Because all right.
Are you up?
Hopefully I'm not next, because I don't. Okay. And generate.
You know to take multiple choices.
Jack. I did take multiple choices.
All right. I'm not screwing around. Reform School Girls. Boom. Boom. We got it in there. Now all three of my tops are in there. Reform School Girls.
Reform School Girls. Solid. All right. And generate. All right. Stan.
All right. Well, for me, this is a tough one. It's going to be Olin Ray. So it's going to be The Tomb, or it's going to be The Phantom Empire. I feel like I feel in The Tomb.
All right. Tomb it is. It was in my possibles list. Didn't quite make it.
The Tomb? I don't see that on her list here. Is that also known as Jungle?
No,
Jungle Warriors?
It should be under The Tomb.
Yep, 1986 with John Carradine and Cameron Mitchell. So that's if I need to sell something, then it's just Cameron Mitchell. That's all I really need.
That's true.
All right. Well, I'm going to.
Don't screw it up.
All right, I'll generate because I need to last. I think we got a lot of sword and sorcery. We got a lot of genre. So we'll wrap it up with a crime. Crime horror is what it's actually classified as. They're playing with fire.
Okay, good. All right.
A married college professor decides to seduce her student, whom she has hired as a handyman for her yacht.
Yeah. I hear that one's got lots of nudity.
Yeah, I took a glance at it, and that was why it leaped up to the top of the list there. I thought about Cat in the Cage, but it didn't quite seem to fit with what we were doing. Phantom Empire.
No, I don't think we chose a single movie before 1980, and she was in a lot of. But tell you the truth, those are I'm super happy with these choices.
Oh, it's going to be an amazing season. Like, just the names. I mean, the when you look at these movies, but like and like you say, I mean, we could have gone further because I really, really did want to do the Phantom Empire. I looked at L.A. Bounty, which is a character that she also made into a comic book, and it's just like, oh, there's so much stuff here. Or even Young Lady Chatterley would have given us something.
would have been a thing, yeah.
Yeah, it totally would have been a thing. So yeah, I mean, it's like Sybil Danning. Thank you for being Sybil Danning. I feel like we could go back and still do.
We should reach out to her and let her know we're doing the season because she's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like we could do another season of her movies and just clean up
Easily.
some of the rest of it and be very happy.
The fact Jungle Warriors wasn't chosen is amazing.
I know, it's true, because that, again, three women on the run. Yeah, it's just like
3 women on the run in a jungle? Dude, that's our jam.
I mean, next time we'll give you the option of putting in some movies.
Yeah, but what would you lose?
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it's too much. I mean like we've got art house, we've got everything in between. This should be quite wonderful. All right. So anybody have anything else before we wrap up and go watch some Sybil Danning? Watch some Sybil Danning.
I'm ready for some Sybil Danning.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
I got to check to make sure I have tissues left in the house.
Yeah. Pull out your Sybil Danning sock. All right. There's no more can be said now. But okay. So for Jim, Jack, and Nick, I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu, and thank you for listening to the cult film Showdown.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Bosworth.
All my life, people have had the wrong idea about me.
I don't like cops who make up the rules as they go.
They say I push things just a little too far. They accuse me of being insensitive. They basically say that I lack the ability to get along with others. So just to prove these people wrong, I decided to join a very exclusive and private club. Oh, yes, it's very plush. And the membership, very select. And games, we play some games. A perfect place for me, wouldn't you think?
You just picked up the wrong passenger, buddy!
Mr. Brian Bosworth requests the pleasure of your company. Stone